those of you who are not familiar with that, the program, which provides an opportunity for local participants to receive tutelage from an award-winning writer, and is intended to help our poets, as well as our short story writers, our novelists, and soon-to-be novelists, to reach the next level in their artistic journey. Since the start of this program in 2006, the Department of Culture has been fortunate to have Commonwealth Prize winners, New York Best Time Sellers, and authors, internationally recognized editors, including, but not limited to, Olive Senior, Jacob Ross, Tobias Bucknell, to lead the program. For this year's Writers in Residence program, we were delighted to have Dr. Richard Georges, the first poet laureate of the British Virgin Islands, to serve as the workshop leader. It began in June of this year for several in-person classes and finished in August with a series of virtual sessions. During that time, the participants had the opportunity to learn about different poetic forms and receive detailed feedback on their writing. So I'd like to thank tonight Mr. Rajay Denbrook, thank you, Ms. Catherine Hay for organizing the residency and tonight's reading, as well as the National Gallery, who partnered with us by having Dr. Georges as one of the jurors for their 2022 biennial exhibition. So to all of you who are here tonight, thank you for coming to support our poets, and I genuinely, heartfeltly hope you enjoy tonight's reading. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hughes. I have the privilege of offering some comments from Dr. Richard Georges, who is not able to join us this evening. Dr. Georges says, "Watch how the ambivalent sun showers us all with light. Serving as the writer in residence in this pandemic era/alter world has been a source of persistent joy. Look how we have been able to create in the midst of so much. I am deeply proud of you all and your abiding commitment to the oft painful journey to make, break, and remake yourselves through your art. I am thankful for this and many other blessings. This privilege to accompany you on this brief passage of your journey in chief, and I wish for you all the fullness of your desires in this writing thing. All love." So we will be hearing from 8 of the poets from the cohort. We put some stickies here when they first arrived, and they identified their order that they're going in randomly. So it is my absolute pleasure to invite our first poet this evening, Miss Tiara Webb. And last but not least, as Tiara makes her way up, each poet will be sharing up to 3 pieces.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I will be sharing a series called Death Dumb. Normalizing death means loving more, fearing less. Normalizing death means giving more and taking less. Normalizing death means abundance over scarcity. Not everything has to be so polarized. Normalizing death looks like a hug and a kiss. Normalizing death looks like the ability to exist in bliss and peace. Normalizing death feels like the guttural vibrations of them saying I love you. It's electric. Butterflies are vibrations too, just on a higher frequency. Normalizing death sounds like silence, the language of gods, but in silence, everything is understood, so I explain. What's the opposite of death? Life? No. Birth is the opposite. We are born to die. We can live however we choose. Between it all, we explore the folds of this thing called life and try to understand why. We don't have the answers, we don't have the keys. We have nothing, yet we have everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiara. We will now hear from Miss Liana Nanang.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to read 3 pieces. The first one is a piece that I submitted and was accepted to the biennial that Dr. Georges helped give me feedback on and I guess workshopped with me before I even was in his course, and then the other 2 are from on this summer with him in the Writers in Residence program, which was incredible, so thank you so much for putting that on. So this first poem is called Latchkey Lot. We became addicts alone from loners together, but we weren't lost, at least not to each other. We were the latchkey lot, ones without people who cared where we were, who cared what we heard. If they had, would we be where we are? If they had, would we have all these scars? We were little and tricky, but that's what kids are. They made us believe we could handle it all. They made us believe we weren't little at all. Because they couldn't handle life for themselves. They were kids raising kids in a cycle of hell. So we harmed one another while protecting each other. We all played roles not meant for kids at all, because with abuse and neglect that we couldn't admit, we didn't know we had power if we stuck together. If we had, would we be where we are? If we had, would we have all these scars? We grew up and we left. We found our new places. We crossed paths on this island in the darkest of spaces. I can see where we've gone. I know what we've seen. Can we play one more time and forget where we've been? Yeah, that poem is about recovering. And will be 10 years sober this year. Thank you. It's about the people I've met in that recovery journey who I knew when I was a little kid, who are also on that recovery journey. And it's been a beautiful thing to go through that with them. So this is a piece. I never really wrote in form before this course, so I really just would kind of throw things on the page. And Dr. Georges had us really learn about form and right to form. And so I did my first official sonnet. So here it is. It's called A Meditation. Flecks of fire flirt on leaves above me. Dancing lights do the rock step on green veined stages. Tempo set by the wind-drunk tree that sways the hammock as per nature's reign. Reduced to a rockabye babe swaddled in fabric, surrendering to sweat brings peace. Each inhale helps me forget the cobbled side streets of the city as sweet salt springs into my nose, reminding me I'm home. The sound of that Sargasso sea crashes within my skull and soothes stressed, aching bones. No temple, no church, no mosque can match this. The Kiskity's cry turns to siren sound, eyes open on this bus in London town. That's what I would do when I lived in London, in my tiny little flat. Imagine I was home. And now I live back home and it's much nicer. And this final piece is another sonnet that I wrote. It was the last assignment of the course. It's called The Beauty in Our Broken. The cracked calabash can still carry clean water. Your words echo in the fractures of my mind as a proverb forgotten from the motherland wood, lost to the sea since we last met. A familiar stranger with broken pieces that fit my jagged edges. Shared stories bind us together, streaking through our lives like the long stems of my namesake vine. They weave their way around rainforest in search of sunlight as my twining tendril limbs creep to greet your skin. Gentleness mimics molten gold, bonding shattered ceramic. Our celebration of survival, this watertight vessel.
Can we do this every week?
Yeah.
Can we do this every week?
Yes, please.
Next, we're going to have Mr. Ajala Omodele.
So that
I didn't really consider myself a poet. I was very much closeted. And yeah, I would say I was reluctantly putting words on a page. And when I sent a sample of my writing to Alan Smith, who I think is somewhere around here, yeah, he said, bro, you're pretty good. For real? And it just kept going. Like Liana, I wasn't aware of the idea of form and, just words on a page, and somehow it became a poem. But what Dr. Georges gave me were tools that I could work with, so I was very appreciative for the opportunity. This poem is called The Crossing, and, well, AKA Why I Don't Like Tall Ships. They'll have the races. I'm having slavery flashback. I don't want to see the damn tall ships. It means something different to me. You were literally stolen from Africa in tall ships. Forgive me for feeling ambivalence about their arrival in these shoes. So this is called The Crossing, AKA Why I Don't Like Tall Ships. And I use a quote from Bob Marley. I remember on the slave ship how they brutalized our very soul, from Bob Marley and the Wailers' Slave Driver. The yawning sea, open-mouthed, frothing, and toothless. Swallows are sick, our young are defiant. Their memories settling on the seafloor, silent as stillborn babies. The stench of menstrual blood, fever, sweat, and madness animates the white and trembling sails flapping high above the trailing sharks. The discordant clatter of shackles made slick with shit, pus, and tears can sometimes be heard above the incessant wailing of women and seabirds. At night, the ghostly pale men break into the two young bodies of the children, one hand always covering their noses as they heave awkwardly against their tiny, ruined insides. Below deck, the soon gone await their ancestors' liberating call, expectant, bloated, hopeful. And when you excavate the history of African people and the journey we took to get here, one of the stories that I found deeply troubling was that the arrival of the ships would be marked by the stench coming across the water before the vessels were actually seen. As African people, we can say that our ancestors made it through death to life on these stolen, unfamiliar shores. And so the crossing for me, as a descendant of the Yoruba and Fulani peoples of southwest Nigeria, my ancestors survived that. And I know that because I'm here. Write about what you know. There was a kid who came to get one of the books that I wrote. They called him Roots some years ago. He was a student at Cedar Bridge. And his mother brought him to hear this, positive black male, I guess, talking about Dr. Kamara Kafega. And so he took the book away. And he read it and he said he really enjoyed it. Some years later, last year I think, I open and I see that he was murdered, shot to death. And we've lost a lot of our sons. We've lost a lot of our sons in a war that they don't even realize they're in the midst of. They're born on this battlefield called Bermuda. And we've not given them any weapons to defend themselves against things like internalized anti-blackness. We've not armed them. So should we be surprised when they fall like rain? This poem is called They Fall Like Rain. They fall like rain before the dawn, no statuary marking death. Machete, knife, or pistol drawn, steel stealing their last indrawn breath. No statuary marking death, a still green life, not yet mature.
still stealing their last indrawn breath, their killer's blows so cold and sure. A still green life not yet mature, a black boy's future cruelly shorn. His killer's blows so cold and sure, another family left to mourn. A black boy's future cruelly shorn, another son now too soon gone, another family left to mourn. He fell like rain before the dawn. And this next one was written over a decade ago, maybe longer. Yeah, about 12 to 15 years ago. And I was writing some academic scholarly treatise. And my son comes out and he kicked over my plug and everything went kaput. And I took him actually to use the bathroom and we had a moment and I came back to the computer and wrote this. It actually inspired Liana's art, which is down there. This is called The Child Returns. And my son, who is now 18, came across this poem, which was published in local magazine. And he came out of his bedroom after reading it, and he just wept. Because he said, nobody had, it was for him the most beautiful thing he'd ever read. And so this picture was snapped by Liana of me just holding my son as he cried in my arms. This gift for Amari, my son's name is Mark. It's 2:27 a.m. I rise from my seat in front of the computer and walk to his bedroom door. I can hear his snoring as I turn the knob and enter. There he rests, ensnared in blankets like a fly trapped in a spider's web. His face is serene. His eyes are half open, as are his lips, exposing gums where a pair of front teeth once protruded only a few short weeks ago. I whisper to him, "Come on, puppy, it's time to go pee." My words penetrate the universe beyond sleep, where I imagine that the ancestors gather and soar like fall crisp leaves caught in a gust of autumn wind. He, still sleeping, gives his body over to me. I lift him from the tangle of bed sheets and cradle him against my body. He, in turn, molds himself against me in a way that only well-loved children know. We move over the dark wasteland of discarded Lego blocks and dinosaurs, down the welcoming silence of the hallway, and into the dimly lit bathroom. He stands before the toilet and yawns. He stoops to push down his pajama bottoms, and as he returns to an upright position, he grasps his penis in his right hand. The movement is smooth, practiced. The nightly ritual is familiar to him, so familiar, in fact, that he never once opens his eyes. He has an erection. Damn. Urine spurts out like water from a malfunctioning garden hose. The base bin, bath mat, and my house slippers bear the pungent mark of his errant pain. His task complete. He pulls up his pants, turns to me, and waits to be picked up. As we leave the bathroom, with his still warm urine now moistening my toes, I pause briefly to look at the reflection in the mirror. The orange glow of the nightlight illuminates his face. He is beautiful. Beautiful and effortlessly perfect in the way that full moons, forests, and sunsets always are. This gift is my child. I feel the fireflies dancing in the pit of my stomach and revel in the steady rhythm of his breath on my neck. Slowly, quietly, I lower him onto his bed. He tucks his knees into his chest as I place the blanket over his body. With this final action, our nightly ritual ends. I lean over him and gently kiss his forehead. He stirs as the hairs of my beard brush against his cheek. The moment passes, and he returns to the grove of untrammeled innocence that flourishes beyond the reach of fear and pain. I stand, looking at him, then I turn to leave. It is now 2:32 a.m. I return to my seat in front of the computer. My eyes, like storm clouds pregnant with the promise of rain, are full of tears.
Thank you, Ajala. Next, we're going to hear from Miss B. Candace Ray.
You only get to hear one from me, okay? A short one. And it's simply called Elizabeth. No need to enhance it, a life well lived. Keep calm and carry on, she would have said. But when the bagpipes played a dirge, desist, her subjects lamented, with tears instead. They fought acres of footsteps, bridged the gap of 70 years and miles of feelings. The monarch flowered in passion unwrapped, a queen who commanded respect, healing. She commanded respect, always aware of duty and decision, though discussed. Keep calm and carry on, she would declare, lest happenstance derail the public's trust. Oddly sad at the figurehead's passing, oddly saddened by the figurehead's death.
I forgot how much I missed this. I'm being so fed right now so deeply, so thank you to you all. This is doing it for me. Next, we will hear from Mr. Alan Smith.
Hello, good evening. What was so great about Richard's workshop was that because I've done so many workshops, and I always had a problem with form. And what he did was he not only showed us the traditional versions of the form, but he showed us what people were doing, now, or the way that people were dismantling the form. So I finally got it. So the second piece I'm going to read is actually a sonnet, and who would have thought? But the first piece I'm going to read is, one of the assignments was catastrophe, and because I wanted to play the form, but I also wanted to do something atypical, because that's what workshops are for. They're for playing. So this is called Recipe for Disaster. Serves an island nation. Prep time 1 week. Cook time 24 hours. Calories 0. Ingredients: main road of subtropical isle. Liberated roof slate. Limestone cliff face. Nearly decimated pink sand beach. Sargasso Sea. Sargassum. Lush vegetation. Random detritus. Slice a generous slab of main road. Encrust with liberated roof slate. Great limestone cliff face. both flesh and zest. Take heaping scoops of pink sand, combine with flesh and zest of cliff. Blender and see until rendered a frothing, milky gray. Wind and horizontal rain flambe, lush vegetation until a gummy, withered black or crisped. Garnish with copious clumps of sargassum and random detritus. Pray. Serve sea spray salted in the sweltering humidity of the following day. This next poem is not so much fun. Our final assignment was revisiting 20 sonnets. In the beginning, we had 20 sonnets that we went through, and he showed us all the things that you could do with sonnets. In this one, we were to create a sonnet and then sort of deconstruct it. I had been inspired by this internet, this YouTube guy who is very much a champion for women of color. And then it was discovered that he had a past. He's also a person of color, but not black. And it was discovered that he had a past that was very much linked to racism. I won't say the particulars. And this is not so much to him, this is to the people, the unfortunate people who were following him. Murad Murali exposed. Internet, iconoclast, and fur all. Lies, BLM, cleverly monetized. Told to those most often fetishized, black folk. These cyber charlatans collect likes, entice follows, seek media dominion, feign allyship in virtual environs with mavens of culture copied worldwide. Afrofemmes of culture, Afrofemmes of brown honey glazed hues, beige, cocoa, cinnamon varieties, lime green eye shaded zeitgeist goddesses, aching to be seen in their radiance. But queens, pay heed to your own deities. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. All POC can't identify with the life you see. And the final piece I'm going to do, we had an assignment about home and exile and the sort of tension between home and exile. And it took me to my home when I was young, which was an exile of sorts. And then I also, it also took me to some cultural phenomenon that reminded me of home. Over the rainbow. When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. And maybe there was, but it was complicated, understated, never stated. The only time I recall my Nana hugging me was when I got saved. So I learned later than most that hugs could hold you together when you were unraveling. Was it real? Or a performance like so much of church life? She called me the F word, just like the neighborhood tough boys, some of whom wrestled me in the dark, played among cobalt damselflies, hunted monstrous dragonfly nymphs with me at the halted building site behind Young's nursery, helped me name cane toads, breeding in rainwater-filled barrels, deadening our quarrels when no one else was around. Were unwelcome, as I often felt, at our house, abounding in untruths that reeked of truth. The myth of being left on the doorstep by my mama, the oft-times present father, distant as my brother, daddy, who sometimes spent nights between new wives. I wish I was there. I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. Missing home. When I was 19, living with my 29-year-old boyfriend and his family after he rescued me when she branded a half moon on my arm with a breakfast frying pan. But his kindly kin weren't mine. They were tolerating me. Papa came to see me at passing out parade, ending boot camp when I was in the army, misread my ripped physique, skinny. They begged me to come back home where I could eat some food, thrive. And I did. And the familiar felt good. But good, short-lived. Because family is scalding at times. Tough love, brutality. But we can be as flawed as we want, as we ought to be. And blood is a bond fused forever, whatever's amiss. And Homestead is the place where I learned forgiveness. Now on my own, with blood and chosen family, home is not a residence, but a place that resides within me. A choice to accept loved ones each day where they are, to expect sometimes disappointment from all for whom I care. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once on a lullaby. Thank you.
I feel like, to just go from artist to, I'm overwhelmed a little bit. I just should go from artist to, I just want to hold space for a second, but we ain't got the time for that, unfortunately. Oh my goodness, Alan, thank you so much. Next, we are going to continue this incredible evening of expression and vulnerability and community and creative genius. I will go as far as to say that. From Miss Andrea Ottley, with Miss Andrea Ottley. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you for coming. Okay, the first piece I'm going to do is from their Home and Exile assignment, and it's called Immigrant. The air was not filled with lush greenery, only sailing mist propagating itself. Like a flower in the morning, my mouth opened, fragrant with my thick accent echoing as loud as mallards' voices amongst reeds. My ears pecking at the vernacular, a flycatcher and the hunt for a specific niche. Not a word familiar, but the sharp knife of spring breeze reminded me that I am not at home. No mountain ridges expand. My heart filled with tedium. The child in me drew a breath. Calloused eyes pegged me islander, expat, an immigrant, not like bird migration, but an import through union. The gusty wind and rain do not speak my native tongue. No rustling shingles or tinkling of water and galvanized roof. Just the lamenting shoals formed on shore squalls and soft thunder in limestones. Should I speak softly in the fluency of thunder? Should I blend like secret language to the ear buzzing with the mockery? As if beguiled by my flamboyant tones, they sing. What island are you from? You are not from. Yet again, I am reminded that I am not at home. And this second piece I'm doing, it's from the assignment of 20 Sonnets Revisited. Oh my God, I hate form. I really, I attempted first and I sent it to Alan and he was like, oh, don't be defeated, do it over. So I was like, 20 Sonnets Revisited? What about 20 Sunsets Revisited? And then it came up in lieu of Sonnet. So this one is called In Lieu of Sonnet. 20 Sonnets Revisited, rather instead 20 bird species twitching calls invading my head. Day and night I sit to watch birds flutter feathered wingspan glide in rhyme and meter and in flux of structure, like migration in springtime, fledged birds flies, painted bunting streaks of yellow, trumpet calls copious colors of the rainbow. Restless warblers frantically search in mudflats probed by shorebirds' dagger beak. Wandering barn swallows dance harking north and upturned wings coveting feast. After voyaging through this canopy, birds are easy sonnets with difficulty. And then, the final one is about an exploration of ecstasy or the pastoral experience, and this one is called Finally Home. So I wrote this piece when I returned from home in July after my grandmother's funeral, and then I got in, and normally people just say, welcome back, and this immigration officer said, welcome home, and I was inspired to write this piece. So, I never really thought of this place as home until yesterday, when I arrived back on the rock, this hurricane alley, an alliance of some 20 years ago. My eyes filled with aquamarine green and turquoise blue, and my nostrils cocoded the sense of salinity. My heart rode on the thick, windless damp heat. As if in a BDSM, the blooming fire-red, silky wispy poincianas tickled. Leathery land-shaped leaves of hot pink oleanders span. And pastel cream, Humira rubra, tube color, slowly unwrapped lace vines of coral vines. My eyes entertained lustful, luscious bird songs. I climbed atop the velvety, silvery Conocophus erectus that straddled the fringe of mangrove palm. My ears, how they craved your cadence, like the conspicuous calls of Kiskadis. The damp sun peered through powdered blue sky, sweated. I felt its ebbing, like code-switching tongues of locals, stroked. Upon returning, I henceforth come home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Up next, we are going to hear from Sharla-Cavonne.
Hi, good evening. Everybody's so awesome. Like, when you're doing the workshop, right, you don't realize the talent that you have amongst you. So, I also want to add to the chorus of structure. Ew. But no, I think that Dr. Richard Georges, he really loves what he does, so it was such a value to do the workshop because it's like you can appreciate something that you never really had any mutual stuff for. Okay, so I'm going to read 3 poems, and yeah, they were written as inspiration of my workshop, but I never did the assignments too good, so I'm just sharing that stuff. Okay, poem 1. Thorough and entitled. Ownership is a dirty illusion. Money and power are spread by delusion. Nothing is yours, not even your thoughts. This whole race is run by confusion. What lurks behind those smiling lies with grinding teeth and squinted eyes? An incantation so perverse, a deadly catastrophic curse. Representation, empowerment, inclusion, obtrusive buzzwords to seal the collusion. Nothing is real, not even your thoughts. They're constantly swayed by insidious intrusion. At night, how do the wicked sleep, with forked tongues at rest from speech, of pleasantries muttered without thought of where this culture was sold and bought? Bury the stewards of deadly pollution, their epitaph marks a perverse protrusion. Nothing is safe, not even your thoughts. The pirate queen's death brings no resolution. Words and actions stand at odds. Politics is a circus fraught with taxes, tariffs, fines, and fees, confusion between wants and needs. What treasures of this blood-soaked land lay buried deep beneath pink sand? Nothing is fair, not even your thoughts. Colonizers pledge to play their plan. On the surface it looks quaint and pretty, but something rots beneath this city, filled with beauty of grotesque design. The blind led blind refuse to shine. What's a thought that's held behind like a prisoner of a captive mind? Nothing is anything it appears to be, so don't believe in just what you see. So there's a poem form, it's called Sistema? Right, I tried it. Here's the attempt. I belong in the wild, barefoot, naked, and free, untethered to forced smiles for the sake of maintaining a mask to uphold the ideals of a sick society. I am synced undeniably with nature, yet they tell me that submission is my nature. Against my nature, tame the wild beast that swallows fear until I am sick. I repel their conventions to pretend that I'm free, but what is freedom when confined to a self-affixed mask? I choke on the bitter bile of guarded tears through which I smile. A child inside retreats to hide behind a tearful smile. All the while it seems futile to try against their nature. All the world's a stage. This existence is a mask. Sometimes we like to hide to deny what is wild. Society is a trial and freedom isn't free. Against logic we strive toward ideals that are sick, but sometimes, despite what feels right, it's necessary to be sick. Sometimes we must purge and bend, break to mend, then find the strength to smile. The very best things in life truly are free and everything's connected. To seek cohesion is human nature. There is no thing that's tame or wild, just different ways to shield our inner child behind a mask. Sometimes time and distance are all we need to learn to live without a mask. Sometimes we purge ourselves of the fear that makes us sick. Sometimes we find the courage to be wild, unhinged and weightless joy. We don't need strength to smile, to grow through pain and joy is our nature. Despite the illusion of bondage, we are free, and all it takes is perspective to find the place where we are free. And it's okay, all it takes is perspective to find the place where you are free, and it's okay to feel more safe behind a mask. There is no separation between who we are and nature. We try to deny this fact, and it makes us sick. Reject tyranny, embody the essence of energy, all of the good things behind a sincere smile. Embody the essence and the energy of all the good things behind a sincere smile. You, a child of many worlds, are born to be wild. A child of stars stretching the near and distant cosmic planes, traversing galaxies internally, reborn, renamed, awash with the relief to be free and unabashedly smile. It also doesn't have a name. Loving me isn't for the weak of mind or spirit. I require time, care, self-actualization, and healthy fare. I require that you be strong in who you are, undefined by material confines, honest with yourself at all times, no blurred lines or anxiety, and the freedom to express your insecurity. I require clarity and transparency and the knowledge of self that lets you communicate effectively the things that you require of me. Nobody is perfect and nothing is tethered, but I see storms weathered together as seasons to grow. You can never love me if you don't know that sometimes we won't bloom or even want to share a room with each other. I am committed to being and not losing me in a sea of who they told me I need to be loved. Loving me requires that you know how to make yourself happy. That's not my job. We are all beings of light, here to shine so brightly in ourselves that we glory to see illuminating energy pouring from one another. Jealousy lowers the vibration. I'm not just softness or placation when you are wrong. I am indignation in the face of self-destructive delusion. Let there be no confusion. Loving me is for those who want to build and grow and know that I can be your reciprocal community, but I won't absorb your negativity. Though sometimes it's a catalyst to turn yourself around, I am fertile ground and I will not be a wasteland for stagnant energy. I am literally a sacred garden of all the universe's possibilities, and loving me is an extra responsibility to help me reap the harvest I have sown. In turn, I promise I will support you in tending the crops that you have grown. I used to give until my land was depleted. Thought I needed to provide seeds for all that my partner was to receive. Society made me believe the dirty lie that I had to turn a blind eye and hope for the best despite the worst evidence. Experience takes precedence now. Time has given me time to grow, also granted me time to know that loving me is a privilege I'd never have known if I didn't learn to enjoy being alone. I'm at home in my skin with nothing to prove and so much to gain and too much to lose, with no time for the confused or love that's just a ruse to amuse a bruised ego. You can't try me on for fun, because I'm not the one. And despite what I told you, I am not desperate for attention, so check your intentions. I think love's for expansion, and my love's an extension of my God-given talent, and yours is too. But loving me is impossible if you're too afraid of loving you.
Incredible offering. We are at our final poet for this evening, Miss Julie Farnsworth.
It's a little hard to follow, I have to say. I don't know how I ended up being the anchor leg. But look, I really enjoyed the Writers in Residence. It was my first time. Most of my sort of poetry is kind of more from children's lit and children's poetry, so Dr. George has really pushed me. And us, I think, and I not only learned a lot from him, but I learned a lot from my fellow writers and poets alike. So let's see. I'm going to do it in reverse order just because that's what's up on my phone. So I'm going to do the Sonnets Revisited, and I hope I don't need my glasses. Okay. This is called Sapphire Necklace. Please take me back to when I was 13, when I ate Ma's homemade banana bread, combed beaches and hid in the lifeguard shed. When life didn't revolve around a screen and mermaids were sought in aquamarine. Books atop sand dunes were lazily read. Locals sang, tourists watched, and laughter spread. Summer's children played outside, the air clean. Work, traffic, inflation, enough of it. These teenage reflections are truly some sapphire treasures in my jewelry kit. Precious, lifelong memories banked. Come midday break, necessary escape, I sit to string these sapphires, never for ransom. Okay. And then the other one, we had to write about lust for our first theme, and I don't want to write about lust coming from children's lit, so it's pretty tame. Don't get excited. Here we go. I might need my glasses for this one. It's a bit longer. It's called Window Dreamer. That's better. I pull the trigger of the Windex glass cleaner, and the result is a fresh splatter of liquid upon the shop display window. I wipe quickly, vigorously, in case I miss seeing you walk past. I would hate for any part of my arm, or cleaning cloth, or smudge to obstruct my view of you. A view of you is what I look forward to every morning. It has been for the past month. It breaks up the monotony of this summer job. Endless good morning, good afternoon exchanges with customers amount to nothing compared to my one single, solitary daily view of you. The customers, they browse plenty, but purchase little. Their interest is not in fancy flatware, pewter presents, or ornate photo frames. They are just passers-by, really. The funny thing is, I think I'm like the customer, and you, the passerby. I browse plenty, but don't purchase a thing, and I definitely do not touch. You pass by the shop window gorgeous in your summer office attire. I admire, but I suspect you do not notice me noticing you. I desire. I dream one day I'll be lucky and get more than just a view. I'll be gifted with reciprocity. You'll look in my direction, and I'll summon the courage to smile. Perhaps I'll only manage a feeble one, but your eyebrows will raise and a full smile will broaden your face. My heart will be sent into atrial fibrillation, and you'll probably just pass on by.
And we actually have one more surprise poet this evening. Myself, here we go. This feels so incomplete, like it doesn't feel like we should be finishing right now, but that's it, so we've got encore. You guys have anything up your sleeves? Anything you're working on, you're experimenting? I'm not trying to put you on the spot like that. Thank you to the poets, first and foremost. Thank you for bearing your souls. Thank you for your creativity. Thank you for affirming all of the things that all of us have going on inside of us that sometimes we may not be able to bring to the surface. Speaking for myself, I feel extremely satiated. Just for the short 45 minutes of sharing that you have graced us with this evening. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for participating in the program. Thank you to the department, because I'm a Johnny-come-lately. Where's Catherine? Thank you to Kathy for getting pregnant so I could cover the program in her absence. Thank you for baby Lori and just being the greatest baby ever. Yeah, just thank you. I'm just full of gratitude right now. I'm so happy that I got to be here in this capacity to support this evening. We were planning to be here until after 8, so I guess linger around. The poets are here if they want to talk and interact with you. That's totally up to them. Because now I have a bit of time, I'm not necessarily in a rush. I'm not sure how my director feels about that. So once again, thank you so much for coming, and we hope to see you again very, very soon. Absolutely.